We ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, I guess we'll call our 5 o'clock work session to order. Thank you everyone for being here. This is a huge crowd tonight. Cameras can't see that way. So we call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we are now in session. I guess, Mr. Jeffrey, you were presenting?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Teresa and I really worked hard on this, going through the finances of the water department. We've worked hard on cutting costs and just looking at every aspect that we can to improve. And we were looking at our fee schedule and certain things that we want to add, certain things that we're just going to increase a little bit, and just want to go over each one with you and get your input, and then of course if we get the approval of these, there will have to be some ordinance changes to go along with that. So this on the first page here where it says Jones County Water Customers Rate Schedule, this one right here, the ones that are highlighted in red are the ones that we're going to take a look at today. The first one where it says penalty, what we do now is this is 10% rate. We want to change that to a flat $15 rate. It's the 10% is to me is a little bit low, and so we want to put a little more teeth into it, so to speak, and want to raise it to a $15 flat fee. The transfer fee, that's something new, and we want to have a flat rate of $25 for a transfer fee. The reconnect fee we currently have at $45, and we want to change that to $50. And a lot of this is just to recoup cost of the employees' time, the gas and wear and tear in the vehicles as our fleet is aging. We just, there's more repairs on it to try to recoup some of the costs. On the second page, where it says fee for rereading meters, we currently have a $10 read on that. We want to increase that to a $25. A lot of our rental units are currently like in Overland Way area, and then we have some actually in River North. So the distance there is quite a bit, and sometimes we'll have several in a day that want to have us look at that, and they some people choose for us to actually go out and do it, and so $10 was a little bit low in terms of all the running around that we have to do in terms of just the fuel costs. So we want to increase that from 10 to 25. The relocate meter, we get some of those requests, and actually we just did one in the Haddock area a couple weeks ago. It was a dispute between residents, neighbors, and it was more on one person's side than the other, and we went ahead and changed it. We really don't have any cost in the current structure as we have now, and there's a lot that goes into that. There's actually the excavating part of it, the piping part of it, and the employees' time, and so we wanted to add a fee for that just to kind of reduce some of our costs on that. The same day connect, we get quite a few of those. You get some people come in at the 4:30, want that water, want the water on at that moment, and we currently don't have any fee structure for something like that, and we wanted to put a rate of at least $10 to kind of incur the cost of, again, sometimes it goes into overtime for an employee to do that. We try to accommodate people as much as we can, but so in case we do that, we can recoup some of our costs there. And this one is a new one. When we do applications for new services, which we do quite a few just in a week's time, We currently don't collect anything on that, and it does take a lot of time in terms of the office staff, and then we have to go and get a read off the meter and bring it back, and we don't incur anything on that, so that just just to recoup some of the costs of the running and the employees, that time it takes for them to do this, and wanted to see if we can add a $25 fee to some of the costs of that.
So Jeff, for the same day connect, do you have to go on site to connect, or you can do everything from the office? So I mean, does that need to be $25, and she may have to go somewhere?
Where you have to physically go out if you wanted to turn them on, or you got to unlock them and turn the meter on and make sure that there's, it doesn't stop spinning. So I mean,
No, I'm just saying, do you think it should be 25 versus 10, depending on where you have to go, or is that 10 just fair?
well, I think we based a lot of these off different counties that are around us too. And to be honest with you, we're on the low side in most of these. And a lot of the counties that we looked at, they have like a base fee of $25 is basically what they're looking at. We've had to, I think 25 is probably sufficient.
And the only reason I suggested that is because that's what you say, you have to go to Overland Way and other locations. You said $25 for that, and I mean, if you got to go to Overland Way, then
I mean, if it's late in the day and they have to go all the way out to River North area or whatever, we may wind up into overtime
Yeah.
to go turn somebody on. And right now, the only thing we recoup, we get a deposit down, and we keep no funds out of that. If the customer walks away, it's all given back. We don't keep any of that.
okay. Well, I said just a suggestion because I heard you have to go travel so far. It's had $25 for that fee. So
So is there right now it's $10? Or right now it's not?
Yes.
So I would think, just my opinion, I would think the same day connect would be fine, and then add a provision in there that says if you call after 3 o'clock or something like that, and you want it that day, then that's a choice the customer makes. It's an additional cost for us to come out because we are incurring the overtime. But to say 25 as a reconnect in the same day, no matter what, because if they call at 8:15 in the morning and we're going to charge them $25 and we get it done before 12 o'clock, when they come in front of us, we don't really have a whole lot of leg to stand on to say, why did we charge you $10 and you $25 and you both called at 8:15 in the morning? But I do agree that as a service, we probably need to recoup any lost money that we have, because otherwise it's not a sustainable. Tim, that was just rude. It's so unlike you.
I'm not sure how that happened.
There's little buttons on the side over there that.
Yeah,
Where the transfer fee comes in. Because if we have to do a transfer,
Right.
you're talking about 2 locations, and we have to go out there,
Yeah.
get that read, shut it down, go to the next location, get
And I-
that read, turn it on, and we're back to the office.
Right, and I think that's, to me, is a different situation. So I think, my opinion is the $10 good, 25 for additional charge if it's after, just say 3 o'clock. A transfer fee would almost roll into the application admin fee. So if you're gonna transfer it, you gotta have another application for your new address. So that's a $25 fee. Or if we're transferring from 105 to 110 address, and it's a $25 fee, that's not a new service and an admin cost at 110. Or we're saying there's a $25 fee to change it to from 105 to 110, and then a admin cost for application fee at 110 also. So I'm thinking if you're changing addresses, you got to start a new service. So that's an admin cost to that address. So that would alleviate from having either the application or the transfer. And And I would say that keep the application, because then new applications are still $25. That way, it doesn't matter if it's a new one or an existing with it you're transferring, you're filling out a new form for a new address, and it's $25. Whether it's your first day there or if you're moving from next door to.
So they're like one and the same, is what you're saying, basically. Because
Yeah,
they're-
because a transfer still, you're still applying for a new meter. Even though you're moving from one to the other, you're disconnecting one.
I'm going to struggle with that one just a little bit. You know, I think as a customer, you know, I'm moving, but I'm staying your customer, right? And I'm already in the system. We're just physically moving locations and turning it on. And I don't want to feel like I've been penalized. My alarm company, they'll move my entire system. They don't charge me anything. My cable company, they're going to flip a switch. Georgia Power, if I remember, and I haven't moved in a while, but they don't charge me to change my service. So I'm struggling with that one a little bit. And I can understand the cost, but internally I'm an existing customer. So it just seems like, you know, one of those.
I agree, and I think if it's a meter, if you're having to put a meter at the new location,
Meter, yes.
yeah. So if there's already so if you're moving from 105 to 110 and there's meters at both locations,
Right.
and you're swapping from 105 to 110, yeah, I don't see that as an application fee.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's cost of doing business.
Yeah.
But if there's no meter there and you're setting a meter, whatever that cost is for your tap fee should cover tapping into it, setting your meter and all that. But the application fee for a new service would be the $25, whether it's moving it and starting a new one or whatever. Anytime there's a new account and a new address, that's a $25 fee. I think that would cover transfer and new installs or new service, but it doesn't. And I just say if a parent passes away and a person's got a house 3 doors down, they're moving into the parent's house, but they're moving their service from their old house to the parent house, then that shouldn't be a cost of $25 to do it, because you gotta, like Commissioner Martin says, you already got an established service there. I don't know that would.
And that may be separate where we just say, okay, here's a bereavement policy or something like
Yeah.
that.
And
you
it's
know?
just, it's not I don't see that as we probably don't have that many of them that are moving with an existing meter where we just, if it's new service though.
And
But-
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's help me with this one. The reconnect fee and the same day connect, like, I understand where you were going with the reconnect, but then when we got to the same day connect, we're going out physically to connect somebody for $10. But if we reconnect, we're going to charge you $50. I understand the penalty because you know what? You were late on your bill and we shut you off. But it's the same thing. We're physically going out. One is $50 and one is $10. So if we're going to justify it by transportation costs, personnel costs, those fees should be relatively comparable. I don't want to be overly punitive for reconnect fees, but at the same token, I do want to hold people accountable so it's not a repeat offender. And maybe that's incremental too. That first reconnect is $10, right? If you're going to do this same day connect, and then the second one is 25, and it's progressive, so they know if you're
It's
a
more
repeat
and
offender,
more
we're going to get
expensive.
you.
Right.
Same day
Uh,
connect.
Yeah, I think what they were saying was right now we have a $50 fee, disconnect fee.
Right.
So moving that from the disconnect side, because if you've disconnected them and they're not paying their bill,
Yep.
we're never going to get the $50. So I
Gotcha.
think they're moving it from the disconnect to a reconnect.
Gotcha.
So that when you reconnect, you won't service at that
Yep.
time. If you're getting done already and don't have service, then you're not going to pay that
Gotcha.
50. So
Okay.
I don't think that's the way I read it in your explanation there.
All right, I got to get through security faster. All right, but again, on the same day connect, again, I think that number, if we're going to justify it for manpower and vehicle, like the $25 number makes way more sense, or it should be almost comparable. Same day connect is an express service. I got to stop a guy or girl from doing something to go do this,
I agree. Relocate meter. I'm having a hard time with a $100 flat rate. I would almost say time and material, because if we're recouping our costs, because if they want to remove the meter from one side of the driveway to another, and you got a bore under the driveway, and it's 100 feet of pipe, then it may not be worth it for $100 for us to do it. Or if they're moving it just on the other 40 feet on the other side of the property line, and all you're doing is trenching over there and sticking the meter, and can do it in an hour, then the $100 might be worthwhile. But I think if I'm wanting you to move my meter, it's not an emergency situation, it's working. So you come out and assess the situation and say, it's 3 hours of time plus X dollars for the material, and we set a cost on hourly rates, and just say it's $75 plus $50 for the material, it's $125 if you want the meter moved. If they say, oh no, well then, no harm, no foul. If you say $100, sometimes it benefits us, sometimes it don't. If it's in my opinion, it ties our hands.
Based on the job itself.
And I think you said it's not often that they want to move them, but I don't know that we know going into it what it would cost us. If we're recouping our cost honestly, then how do we know that $100 recoups it? Or if a customer's going to say, they moved it 5 feet just on the other side of the property line and they charged me $100. My neighbor had to move it 250 feet to the other side of a driveway. Took them a day and a half and it still cost $100. So I'm just thinking about the things we're going to have to answer for.
Okay, you might be way off the base here, but I thought that we had verbiage in the ordinance to account for that they would be responsible for any fees associated with it. But we just, is what I'm thinking is, we just don't have the additional, based off the other counties, fee that they charge in addition to all costs associated with moving.
Maybe that's just something we add to the ordinance when it talks about relocating a meter. There's an additional cost, and that's, now we will have to set what that hourly rate is, because the materials can change depending on the market rate of the materials. But I think we need to set a cost of, if it's $25 an hour or whatever our rate is for our, and we can use numbers based off of salary and material, the truck that we're going to use. So there, whether it's FEMA rates or whatever we're using, but if it's $25 an hour plus material, then we've got a determined amount that we can, put on paper and say, here's why this. It leaves a question out of, why are you charging me this and you're charging somebody else something else? It's, across the board, it's the same price.
Do we charge commercial any different than resi when it comes to relocation of meters? Or is it all the same?
Well, really, we haven't moved a commercial meter. It's mainly just homeowner, usually it's like a homeowner dispute with a neighbor, especially years ago when they did 7 meters, it's kind of, it may be a little bit off. Some people don't want it in their yard, and it's basically things like that. But a commercial meter, of course, it's a larger meter, but, that'd be a little more work involved in that, but,
And time and material would cover that, so it's not really a major difference?
Right.
Okay.
right.
Yep, the material would be 3 times as much if it's 3 times the size.
Why do we charge a fee for rereading a meter?
The people, especially they get their bill and say, hey, my bill's really high, can you just look at my meter? Well, you gotta get someone out there to go out there to do it. I mean, be honest with you, especially when people start getting their bills, you get inundated with, hey, my bill's high, can you come out and read it? You can spend literally hours just out there reading meters. And sometimes it's on them because they have a leak. Really, most of the time it's because they have a leak. And so it's just there's manpower involved in that, and there's a lot of running around involved in that too. And also basing it on other counties that are around us. Basically, that's generally the rate that they charge. So there's a lot that goes into that. We try to explain to the people, like, sometimes if you say, well, there's gonna be a charge to that, we kind of share with them what to look for when you go up there and look at your meter and look at that little red dial, there's nothing on in the house, if it's spinning, you've got a leak. And some people will go ahead and try to go ahead and read it, some still wants to come out and do it. And, so we do that.
I struggle with that one a little bit too. I think it's a fine line between the cost of doing business and then the customer service side of it for me. And I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but I almost want to say that, you know, a service for me would be if you're providing me a service and I don't think something is right, a service call to come out and make sure it's not. Now, if it is my problem, maybe there's something in it say, well, there's a, what are we looking at, $25 fee if the meter, you know, if you explain them over the phone that if it's moving, it's your, you know, it's a leak, and they say, well, I don't care, I still want to do it. And you say, if it's found to be a leak and it's not our issue, it's not just an error in the meter, there's a $25 charge for it, and they say, well, fine, I don't care, I want to know. That's one thing. And we also know, I mean, you guys know that there are some that call every so often and say, I want you to come just check my meter, because you know, I don't think I should have been $21, I think it should have been $20, and they want you to check it. So maybe there's something that says once, you know, like we do with the leaks, once a year you're allowed a meter check, but, you know, if it's found not to be ours, there's a charge to it. I don't know.
See, I think it is in our ordinance already.
Yeah, it is.
That we will charge a reread fee. But if we go out and it's our meter, our mistake, our leak, whatever, you don't have to pay it. But if we go out and it is your part, then you do have to pay the fee.
So, and I think that's fair, and I think if we tell them that up front,
Right.
Yeah.
then that kind of says, well, that's okay. If it might be on me, then I don't want to call them. So,
And a lot of times they will, but you do have some.
so what are we charging? 25? Are we saying regardless of whose problem it is, it's a $25 fee?
If it's the, if it's the county issue,
So that's already in the ordinance. We're just not.
it's already-
We just need to do it.
Yeah, we are, I was just wanting to increase it.
Oh. So what is it now?
$10.
Do you know how long the ordinance has been like this? Because $10 is, to me, I don't know that we could send anybody out with a person in a truck for an hour for $10. We would lose money, so I do agree that $10 not a fair price. I thought we weren't charging him, we were just saying that. So
No.
I wouldn't have a problem with the increase, just if it's their fault. If it's their problem, it's their problem, it's ours, then we don't charge for it.
The main one that we want to focus on too is the penalty fee, which is currently 10%.
Yeah.
I wanted to change that to a $15. And I had this tarply, throw up a paper on it, and it's actually behind the last page on what it says ordinance changes. The bottom paragraph there is versus the $15 flat penalty fee that was approved. It goes back the last couple of years, what you could recoup off of that, rather than what we're currently doing with the 10%.
It's in the back.
I got you.
Yeah, that is.
Y'all's thoughts on $15 penalty? That one thing I don't think this is an increase to any, I don't say normal, but normal customer. The only way it would be an increase is if you are not paying your bill or you're requesting something additional than what we're doing. So the average customer now would not see any increase in their monthly bill the way this is written, unless they request something more, they have an issue that's their fault or their issue, or they're delinquent in their payments. So to be clear, we talked about $15 penalty, a flat rate penalty instead of a percentage. The transfer fee, I'm going down the highlighted reds you have here. So the transfer fee basically goes away and becomes part of the application fee on the last page. The reconnect fee is moving from the disconnect side, so it's not an additional anything, it's just 50 moved. The fee for rereading a meter is increased from 10 to 25, and it's in the ordinance, and would be told to the customer when they call to reread it. If it's not their issue, it'll be refunded. Relocate meter, instead of the $100, it's a time and material based on a set price of, we just say $25 an hour. And we can put that in the ordinance. Same day connect is changed only after 3 p.m. And these are just thrown out numbers, so I'm not. And then the application fee is $25, which we talked about on the first page.
Yes.
Real quickly though, on the tampering, again, that's another one I'd like to see progressive, because only people that tamper are going to be people that tamper. And if it's damaged, then there should be a fee for that, because now we're at radio meters, and these are pretty expensive. I don't know what tampering looks like in Jones County. I know in Bibb County, we just turn it back on.
Occasionally.
Right.
Yeah,
And I've seen some,
they'll damage it sometimes, and you get some like that.
right, and I've seen some bypasses in Jones County, I think once or twice, but
I agree. I believe that all of this should be on tampering or theft or anything like that. I mean, a penalty for theft, we do have a second offense, so we do have a graduating scale. I agree. I think tampering should be the same way. 100, 250, 500 or something like that.
right, because those meters are what? Are the radio meters almost $300, $350?
Well, right now they're 170 apiece.
170, okay.
Yeah.
Plus the install, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
There we go.
So add 100, 250, and 500 on the graduating scale for tampering.
That works for me.
Anybody else have thoughts, opinions, discussions, yays or nays?
Apologize, didn't hear what you said. I was checking on them all before I came. Y'all talked about just brakes. Did you start? I just, being a landlord, in Bibb County, I can pick up the phone and establish service that quick. The biggest complaint I get with landlords in Jones County that they can't do that. What would it take? I'm sure you run credit on their history and whatnot. You don't?
We don't have anything like that.
They'll, just like Georgia Power, if I transfer a service on Georgia Power on one of my properties, they look at my utilities credit rating. And a lot of times, they'll waive a part of it because of the fact, or the way the deposit due to the fact that I've got a good credit history. And I can have the water, obviously I can have the electricity turned on then because we got electronic meters. But with water, chilling next day, I call Macon Water Authority, give them the address, they get my information. They tell me your first bill, you'll have $35 extra bill on your bill for connection fee. You know, if I want it the same day, I can pay extra, but I always get it the next day. That's something we need to have somehow. I mean, what would it take for Jones County to get there? 'Cause we got people that are living out of town,
Okay,
that landlords,
right.
that have called me and said, you know, I'm out of town. I can't drive 3 hours to Jones County to get one of my homes a water service so the plumber can check it.
So here's what we do now.
Okay.
Because of that, we had a few, I guess you'd say local or whatever, that was asking about that. So we have a switch that we flipped in the software so that if a tenant moves out, it's an automatic, it flips out of that tenant's name and back into the landlord. They don't have to pay their deposit or whatever, they pay the water bill until the next tenant comes in. They notify us, we collect the deposit, flip it into the tenant. Now, but we have to know that somebody is a landlord, and I'm saying these people probably told, I don't know. But that's how we're handling it for the landlord. Used to, we required deposit and come in and this and that and the other, and so now it is kind of automatic as long as we know it's a landlord.
That can bite you, and I've actually got a bill on it right now where you don't know, you know, let's say a tenant starts to get behind, and they say, well, I'll pay my water bill and have it disconnected, and it's gonna go on my landlord's. And I've had this happen to where I don't have landlord accounts, and that's basically what you're doing, a landlord account. I won't do a landlord account with any power company, anything, just to, I'd rather pay that extra $25 or $35 connection fee each time I establish service and not have that landlord account, because all it takes is a tenant to be wise enough to realize that I can call him my power cut off, or I can call him my water cut off, and guess what? Landlord's gonna be, next month, I'm gonna be getting ready to move out of his house, and he's gonna pay my water bill. Once I get out, I'm gonna pay him and he's gone.
Well, see,
So that's where that bites you.
can I say the name?
No.
No, don't say a name. Don't say a
Okay,
name.
So, but he's happy with it. But he's one of the major that we know of that has a lot of property, and he's pretty happy with it.
Right.
But we said all along, in fact, I think Macon Water Authority has some type of agreement with a landlord. Jones County has none of that. I mean, we have people that'll come in, it is a landlord home, we don't know it, put them in, they move out, we never collect the money, the account just sits there. So landlords and tenants is a big issue.
I got a bill the other day, and I'm just using an example, and my wife called. And we had tenants swapping, you know, addresses and services. Well, somehow in the mix, there was a lapse for a couple of days of service, and we received a bill. I don't have a landlord agreement. I don't want a landlord agreement, because like, again, it will, you know, it'll bite you in the rear end. I know for a fact, that's why I don't do it. And we're like, you know, this tenant moved out, this tenant moved in, and I mean, it was just, I had tenants going from a 2 to a 3. But somewhere in that mix, there was a week or so lapse from the tenant that moved out canceling the service to the tenant who moved in, transferring the service from across the road to there. So it generated a bill for me that, you know.
Really, yeah.
So you see, we're, as a landlord, I mean, if somebody's happy being on a landlord agreement, that's, you know, that's stay on top of it. But personally, I would pay $25, $30, $35 connection fee rather than the agreement.
Well, we struggle with it because we have some that are really happy, and then we have some that.
So it
But
sounds
I-
like it's more of an issue of not, if the landlord can't come here and physically reestablish the account and pay the deposit or pay it, it's an electronic issue that we can't do something electronically, right?
You've got to pick up the phone and establish service, and that's my biggest complaint I've got with landlords, is they cannot call Jones County. And there's a landlord over there by me in the duplexes, and he's called me out numerous times. He said, why can I not pick up the phone and call and establish service?
But I thought that they were allowing them to email them their request that they wanted it flipped.
It needs to be a little user friendly. I mean, Dale, you're in Duke County, you know how easy it is to establish service.
Absolutely. I just want to clarify, not a flip, but service establishment. So if I bought a property on McCrary Drive and I am the new owner, I must physically come in and do an application. And make and bid, I make a phone call, service is started. So it's not the flip part, it's landlord, new owner as well, and even in some cases realtors, because when we need to get inspection of utilities on a house, we should be able to make a phone call in and get the services cut on.
That's if you've already got an established account somewhere else, or?
No, just in general. I mean, you can call and
So-
set it up.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for the county side. If you call me as a landowner, property owner, and you don't have an account established in Jones County, and you say, I wanna start up an account, I don't wanna fill out an application, I don't wanna put a deposit, I ain't got time to get there, I'm out of town. How do I know that you're not Johnny Joe that's moved into a new house and does the same thing that you're talking about, that's a landlord account?
You got a computer in front of you, you can look up the ownership of the property. I give them a social security number, they run the credit on me.
So we can't do that?
No.
Is it a software issue or just a policy issue?
As far as running credit,
Or,
It's a utilities credit. It's not your regular credit, but you have a utilities credit. And they'll literally, I mean, I've done it so long now that wherever I call into at this point, I've got a history with them of, and if I have a previous bill already active, I'll call them, if you want to look at this account, it's already active. All your connection fees are waived, there's no deposit.
Yep.
Your service will be established then, because, but now on the tenant side, a tenant cannot establish service on a rental property unless they physically have a lease in their hand to prevent to get water, because it keeps them from turning the water on for their sister who just had it cut off. So they literally have to go there with with a contract, a lease contract in hand to get the water turned on.
now we will turn it on, they'll call us over the phone and say, gotta get to my rental property, need to clean it up, what I need to do, we say we'll turn it on, I think we give them 7 days. They go out and do their thing, and then they notify us they're done.
They can bid to get fined for one time. If you go to make a bid and turn it, spigot on, to even clean the house, there's no plan. You automatically get fined for that.
We
that
go
turn.
out and turn it on for them.
Yeah, but
We say
I'm
you
just
got-
saying, if you didn't lock it, you go out there, you heard Commissioner Martin, he knows how to turn the valve on. He's never done it before.
we got this tampering policy. Stop all
But
that.
what I'm saying is, if you turn it off and then turn around back on, and that meter reads different than what it was when they read it for the close, you automatically get a tampering fee.
Right.
So, we don't
First,
ever
second,
touch
or
it.
third offense.
Mine, I always request it to be read and left off. Let us turn it on and off as need be. That way I don't have somebody running with my duplexes I currently have. That's the issue we had then. I've got a 100-foot hose. And on the end of that 100-foot hose is a washing machine hose.
Oh,
But I
man.
make a jumper hose out of it. I sit and jump from one unit to the next.
Yeah.
And I don't have to sit there and worry about water. I tell everybody, no, do not touch the water meter. I don't care if it's unlocked or not, do not touch it. So we just jump from one unit to the next.
Well, I agree, because it's been a while and we've struggled, I mean, that is an issue that needs some work.
So
That's we
what does
have.
Macon, I guess the simplest thing, is what does Macon Water Authority have that Jones County don't have that we need to get?
I don't know.
So how do we fix that? Is it a software issue? Why are they able to do landlord, checks and balances, and is it a software issue that we don't have that credit check availability, or?
Well, I guess saying what I recommend is, why don't you just reach out to the water authority? Tony Rojas, hey, look, we're looking at enhancing our rental property policy when it comes to landlords, getting water, and what is your policy? We have a copy of it. You can present it to the commissioners in that time. You can look at if there's any cost involved. You present it in the board to make a decision as of what we need to do out here.
And
Because we don't know, but they
Right.
know.
And
Well, I know
just,
they have the landlord agreement application, I know that, but I don't, as far as how they check their credit and that sort of thing.
Yes.
That's the missing link with us.
Yeah. Like I said, reach out, find out the cost, present it to the commission, and the commissioners make a decision.
and lastly, I mean, is our application process even online?
No, and it needs to be.
So that's a big
That's
start.
step two.
And I know too that a lot of them that I actually went on on their website, they allow for the disconnect as well.
Absolutely.
They have a connect and a disconnect.
And I don't know if Tyler, that's how y'all are, yeah, I don't know if, yeah, I assume in Tyler, that's how you guys are managing it, and that seems like a simple interface. I'm right in, as a customer, I'm on that side of it, and I just put it in the interface, and you guys get it and go, oh, okay, since we're not really running credit checks, we're just gonna take the application fee and start up service, you know? And as a owner out of, you know, North Carolina, California, wherever, we don't care. Just let us get our service cut on, where I physically don't have to come in here and do it.
And I did scope around on that a little bit, and I know the connect and disconnect is out in the configurations on Tyler for us. And I did try to call them before now, but I set on hold forever. But I will call them again.
Okay.
But most of the credit checks, if they're gonna waive your deposit or not, is the landlord.
Right, but I'm just saying, we don't even do credit checks here,
Right.
so,
Right.
you know, we're just gonna do the admin fee and start service.
I had one other thing. You mentioned anything about Shirley?
I have not, we will, I got one question, Chairman.
Sure.
Do we have a way to pay online yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just behind the times in. I'm good.
Okay, yeah, that was another one. Once you saw it, I said, I forgot about that. Is there anything
Yep.
else on the,
No, open the floor for comments or questions, Chairman.
well, Shirley Drive was one, and Jeffrey, I think you've had several calls on it. Apparently, when the sewer system was put in, we've got one or two houses that are on well that now have sewer. One of them happened to burn down about the same time the sewer was put in. The sewer's in place. And now the land has changed hands, and the man's wanting to move in another double wide trailer in place of the one that burned. There's sewer running all the way in and all the way to the back, but he's got a well. Now, he's already checked on the getting service, and I've got a property that actually corners on him, but they won't allow the water line to run under our corner for some reason. You know, even though we have common corners, they won't let him run the water line through our common corners from Sun Valley over to Shirley. So he's got a well that's good. The septic was taken out when the sewer was put in. So he has no septic now. And he's wanting to know, why is it, can we not have come up with a flat fee for sewer so he can connect to the sewer that's been installed? I think Mr. Risner asked you that they wouldn't install the sewer if the deposit hadn't been paid, isn't that correct?
But they would have to pay a normal sewer tap fee.
But if the sewer line's already been installed by Powell, wasn't it Powell that did it? That had already been paid, the application, I'm sure. They wouldn't have put it in without it being paid, because it actually runs all the way back to where the house was.
Oh, I got you, okay, yeah.
Everything's in, it's just not a stub out in the yard. It's actually come in down the property line, went across the back and turned into where the burned house is that they
Yeah.
cleared out. So, I mean, they wouldn't have went that far had it not been paid,
Right.
is my understanding.
Yeah.
So we've got the sewer taps been paid for, sewer in place, but we've got a well with no way to meter what's being used. So how do we do that? Because he can't get public water.
So
And he's not the only one. I think we've got, Jeffrey, isn't there 2 more units there on well that are on the sewer now? Isn't there a group of trailers right there together and then right up above it? If I,
Shirley?
I think, well, I talked to the one gentleman that you're referring to. That's the only one that I have come across. But yeah, I mean, without him having a water meter, there's no way we could base
right,
a sewer charge, and that's why I said, you know, and that's making one authority,
right.
infrastructure there.
Well, you see where I'm having a dilemma. I think we've
Yeah,
got 2 more already on the sewer that are on wells also, because I just asked a few questions and asked them if they had water, and they said they didn't have, county water. So, but we've got sewer running to them. So it's just somehow through that mix of the connections, there were some people on their own wells that now have sewer on private wells. I know one, and possibly 2 more. And one of those is that, I'm talking about, there's a group of trailers there together. I think it's 2 single wide, maybe a double wide and a clump there.
Just, I want to make sure I'm clear on this. So Macon Water Authority won't run water.
Well, here's the issue. Because he doesn't have, if our lines overlapped,
Right.
he could run a line through my property and be given the easement
Mm-hmm.
onto his.
Correct.
But due to the fact that the corners meet,
Mm-hmm.
they won't let us take a line off of their meter, across my property and go under that corner because they wouldn't have an easement.
So
I
it
don't-
sounds like he needs to pay for a connection to your meter and buy you water. I'm sorry. I mean,
I mean,
I'm a
don't
problem
touch, so-
solver. That's what I do.
think about it, we're touching, we're just cornered, common
Yeah.
corner. If we overlapped or back to back, it'd be a no-brainer.
Yep.
Because he can come right through.
I mean, unless as a county, we're going to say, we're going to put water in. And I mean, do we get to do that?
No, because that's all making one authority.
So once again, our solution is you get a 2-inch meter and you get some water off of you.
Okay, but we got a gentleman sitting there with a well, and he's willing to pay a flat fee on sewer. We can come up with a flat fee to use the sewer, because he said he has no way to meter off his well.
So how do you read it?
He's going to have to come up with a flat, he's asking if there's any way to come up with a flat fee.
And we
based
got
on-
other people on the sewer now that are on wells, and so,
There's a good chance we got 2 more that's on the sewer now.
so do
that
we
are-
take and I'll just say if $25 a month is the average water bill, or $20 a month, do we base it off of that, and that is the flat rate for sewer if you don't have a water meter to check by, or?
You see, we've gotten back into it. He wouldn't need that sewer line, but now, when they installed the sewer line, they took out a septic tank, like they did everybody else. So now he don't even have a septic to hook to.
Yeah, that's probably about the best you can do, is just the average water bill, times the sewer rate.
'Cause we got one and possibly 2 more, so we got to figure out what,
Can we do that by, to be fair, because I think if the neighbors found out there was a flat rate, they're going to want a flat rate. Because I think we already got a particular neighbor who's not happy about his sewer fees, right? We get a phone call.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But I think that would only, is he on a well, or is he?
oh no.
Well,
He's
see, I
not.
think that only applies if you don't have water, because there's established rate for.
I'm just going to say we're setting a precedence. That's all. Whatever we do, we're setting a precedent. So,
Well, right now, I think we're providing a sewer service, and we're not getting a dime for it. So that's what I want to know, how do we fix that?
Yeah, we've got some challenges in that area, because I think the customers that are paying aren't happy about the rate, and then we have a substantial portion that aren't paying, I think, and so, we probably need to look at that whole area, and one thought that, I had, I think we've got the reverse in some place where, Macon Water Authority has the sewer maybe, and we have water. I don't know if you could work some type of swap with them, or where you trade accounts, or something like that, to get it where, we're going to continue having challenges there, I think, unless we do something different. There's just no good way to.
Well, what's challenging there is that being that you're dealing with another agency's infrastructure, and if they don't pay the bill, we have no recourse at all.
So
Call
maybe,
them, we put door knockers out, try to respond, and to the point they don't respond back.
Try to get information,
That's about as
we
far
don't even have.
so Macon Water Authority doesn't provide water on that road at all?
they got it on the front 2, and the very last house is 2 units, and they come through another neighbor's yard. The meter's on Sun Valley, and the neighbor let them have an easement through their yard to supply water to those 2 units.
Because the simplest thing
Could be
would
running water, but,
for Macon Water Authority, because they're paying sewer to Macon Water Authority, right? Or is it paying it through us?
to us, we have no recourse. I mean, if they don't pay, we can't cut off their water.
So flat rating solves at least an interim problem right now, off the average or high average, whatever it is, or based off the size of the trailer that goes in there.
Yeah.
And we need to research the other two to see if we're not giving free service right now.
Yeah, flat rate would work. It would get us, and then, I don't know how we do it, but we may make sure that we don't hook up sewer to somebody that don't have water going forward, I would imagine, because unless, you know.
What's your work session? I'm enjoying sitting over here being quiet.
You know, he talks more when he's not chairman, right? See how that feels?
Uh-huh. Kinda nice for a change.
We got anything else for the work session? All right, well, I'll take a motion to adjourn, take a few minutes before 6 o'clock.
Hey, so moved.
Can I make a motion?
You can make a motion, Jerry.
I make a motion to adjourn, Johnson on second.
Second.
All right.
4 years.
Motion to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.